But in case there may be one who doesn't, I'm Lynn Williams, and I represent the Community Foundation, Greater Flint.
I'm Karen West, and I'm the Director of Keep Genesee County Beautiful.
All right.
I'm Trafina Clark, the Community Engagement Officer for the Roofmont Foundation. And I have an office that's in North Flint, which is actually at the Neighborhood Engagement.
I'm Brian Larkin, also known as Zachary and Layla's dad, and I'm with the CSMI Foundation.
Sorry,
Okay, well, I can start first. Probably the most unique of the different organizations, and it's a great
Go ahead.
opportunity. I'm glad that we're able to get this panel together because many times when you hear about grants or funds out there, it seems kind of all the same. Our foundations have similar names, and you're not kind of sure where everybody fits into that space. So, from my perspective at the CSMI Foundation, the number one resource that you guys have to the community, and I think I have cards here today. The number one resource would be myself, and being access and being able to become a part of your community groups and understand your vision and help to plot that out. Because what we're in the process of right now at the Charles Stewart My Foundation is crafting out what does our neighborhood strategy really look like? How do we best support neighborhoods? Many of the other partners that you have up here at the table really have been in this neighborhood work for years and more than that. I'm not going to put an age on someone at the end who may have birthed me, but I forgot that in the introduction. So, like 3 generations, mother, and kids, and all in philanthropy. They just don't know it yet. But my point is that with our work at the Charles Stewart My Foundation, what we're really trying to figure out is where can we best play in this space? Because typically, as many of you are familiar with the My Foundation, a lot of their work has been with larger institutions, working with some of the staple institutions that you think of in the community, your universities, your hospitals, the cultural center. But really, how do we best leverage and capitalize on our neighborhoods and capitalize from there? And so that's what my role is at the foundation. And what I'm doing right now is taking some of the experiences I've had prior to being in this space and trying to help inform that. So how can we target and support resources? Because one of the most important things is you want to see an impact at the end of the day. When you're out in your neighborhoods, when you're doing your work, you don't want to go one day, cut grass, take up some trash, and then the next day it's all, trash came back again and there was no real difference. So we want to figure out how do we help you get to that next level, and we're working on that right now. So long you get to the others who have a lot more tangible resources. Right now, the biggest resource will be reaching out to me and working with me directly as we learn to shape how we can put these resources back into the community.
So at the Roofmont Foundation, we fund several different, I'll go back to our 4 priority areas, which is youth, safety, neighborhoods, and economic opportunities. And so a lot of our funding will go to nonprofits in the community to do the work. But one thing that we really want to support, like in our neighborhoods priority area, is neighborhood supports. And so you'll see programs like the Clean and Green that's supported by the Roofmont Foundation and the CSMI Foundation that provide those resources to residents to get out in the community and have what they need to do blight removal or maintenance of the yards. Also with the Community Foundation, we also support the Neighborhood Small Grants. So again, that's directly to Black clubs to do work in the community. We also funded the City of Flint for the neighborhood planning or the neighborhood toolkit. And so one thing that we've seen this year is because neighborhood groups are identifying their priority areas and they want to do those larger projects, they're partnering with those nonprofits and being able to request funds to implement some of those things they identified in their neighborhood plans. And so we don't fund individuals, and you have to be a charitable organization or a nonprofit. And so if a group, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, if a group partners with one of those organizations, they are able to come in and request dollars to support their on-the-ground work.
Trafina brought up a good point, but when I did talk about resources, ultimately though, when it does get to the point when we're really talking about dollars and making grants, the CSMI Foundation only really does grants to nonprofit organizations. And so if you're thinking about working towards that process down the line, we don't do individuals either. It ultimately ends up in nonprofit organizations.
we provide resources to anybody in the city of Flint who would like to clean up a public area. So whether you want garbage bags, yard waste bags, cotton gloves, we provide those resources to you. We ask for 2 weeks notice. Oh, I'm Karen, Keep Genesee County Beautiful, sorry. So it's really hands-on. We ask for a report back. We have litter grabbers, litter stabbers, that we will not give to 5th grade boys and girls. But anybody who wants to make a difference, it's a real opportunity. We have had small groups, large groups. One of the best things that you can do is come in with a plan. Decide how big the area is you want to attack, how many people you have, and then come in and we'll help you figure out your resources, and you can come and pick them up. And like I said, it's for public areas only. So that includes, we like to include from the curb to the sidewalk as the right-of-way, as well as schools and libraries and land bank owned properties, City of Flint owned properties. So those are the biggest resources we have in terms of actual hands-on. A couple of other things we do is if you are interested in recycling in the City of Flint, you can come to us to get a recycling bin. We get them from Republic. We give you some information about how and what to recycle. And if you would like us to come out to one of your meetings, we'd be glad to do that too, and try to get people engaged in the free recycling, curbside recycling every week. We also have information on the household hazardous waste cleanups. I did bring some stuff with me tonight because I'm not sure I'm going to be here next week on all of the cleanups scheduled for this year. That's where you can take all of those things that you can't get rid of in the trash. And we also have another sheet of places you can take things throughout the year to get rid of if you don't want to wait for those big cleanup dates. There's also going to be might as well put this advertisement out too. There will be another Love Your City event the first 3 weeks of May, and I do mean 3 full weeks. It starts, I think, May 7th. So be watching for that. It's a good time not only for your residents, but for everybody on your block or your neighborhood. Get the word out, get the stuff to the street. It's a wonderful opportunity to get rid of things and to clean up where you live. And finally, we run the Adopt a Park program. As you're aware, the City of Flint does not have a Parks and Recreation Department. And in 2011, the Ruth Mott Foundation funded us to come up with a way to manage and clean the parks with residents. And we started with 5 the first year, and this year so far we have 40 parks of the 70 that are managed and cleaned up by neighborhood residents. We provide you with all of the materials. There's only 2 criteria. You pick the litter up in the park once a week, and you empty out the trash cans once a week. If you want to do more, we're there to support you with paint, with lumber, with repair items. And if you really want to work hard and do a 5-year park plan, then you can raise up to the park tender level where you get $20,000 to $30,000 a year toward playgrounds, pavilions, baseball fields. Probably one of the, and I'm sorry I'm talking a lot, but for example, one of the parks that just finished being a park tender was Jackson Park or Hardenbrook Park, however you want to call it. If you'll notice, they have a new pavilion, they have a new baseball field. They're getting even more new playground equipment this year. That group has worked hard. The Flint Northern Class of 74 alumni have really worked hard over 5 years. And you can see it resulting with the baseball league supporting a little league program last year, buying all the uniforms and equipment. And for the first time, you could see boys and girls out there playing baseball in the parks, and that's what parks are made for. So just a lot of things we have to offer, and if you're interested, give us a call. And I've got some material I'm gonna leave out before I leave. Where's the park located? It's on Jackson Park, Jackson and Alexander, or you could, it's in between Rankin and Jackson off of Alexander is the main entrance.
I just wanted to add 2 things, because I like for agencies to speak for themselves. But if you want to know what we fund for the neighborhood support, you can always go to our website and see our grantees, and we also list a little paragraph of what they were funded to do. And Ashley has spoke about throughout this training, the supports that they offer to it, so they are a grantee as well, but they can help with neighborhood action planning and different things like that.
Let's hold up for the questions after.
All right, so at the Community Foundation, we have a fund called the Neighborhood Small Grants Program Fund, and it's one of the main vehicles that we use to support grants, to provide grants to neighborhood groups, to block clubs, to grassroots organizations. Back in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, I think, the Charles Stewart Bott Foundation actually gave a large grant to the Community Foundation to establish the Neighborhood Small Grants Program. And the idea was, this was to encourage and to support residents who were identifying needs and coming up with solutions to the needs. And to this day, that continues to be the focus of the small grants. Why small grants? The reason it was created as a small grant program is to be sort of an introduction for many groups, sort of a step one to learning about getting involved in the neighborhood that could eventually lead into further organization for groups and further grants down the road. And we have a couple of organizations, at least one I know, who has really been a good example of stepping up in a very short time. And that's Edna Sabuco's group over there. They've stepped up and started out getting a $1,000 grant, and now within less than 2 years, I think, 2 years, they've progressed to being able to partner with institutions and get tremendous funds to better their neighborhood, their area. But anyway, so our funds, we have grants for up to $1,000 for block clubs, groups that are not organized as a 501c3, but are organized as a community group or a block club. Grants up to $1,000 to help to do things that range from safety projects, beautification initiatives, leadership development, festivals coming together, that kind of thing. And we, thanks to a partnership with the Rootmont Foundation since 2009, who has given us funding to expand that work, we've been able to host or to award next level mini grants. So mini grants up to $5,000, typically for groups that have a track record, have a history of doing projects, and are ready to take their organization or their particular work to the next level. At the level of $5,000, it involves neighborhood groups, block clubs being partnered with some institution, a school, a church, some institution that is tax exempt. Because by law, we're not able to give out grants above $5,000 and above to organizations unless they're organized as a formal nonprofit. So we have opportunities for the next level grants. And we have a limited, actually so limited that it's only gonna be one, it looks like right now, opportunity to fund one project this year at the level of $25,000 as a transformational grant. We were able to fund 3 last year. We don't have as much funding as we had in the past, so some of that funding we used up. But we are anticipating having enough funding to fund one transformational grant, and that is a project that takes an area that has been blighted, vacant, and significantly transforms this area into a positive public space. It could be a gathering space or a recreational space, but it has been significantly turned to the point that it has an impact and a turning point impact on the neighborhood. So our grant round is getting ready to open up. I'm working very, very hard on the application, which I am hoping to have available to all of you by April 1st. Or pray with me. And also, we have a summit coming up, April 14th, the Connect the Blocks. I think this is like our 6th annual Connect the Blocks Summit. If you have not ever been to this, you need to come. The main thing is connecting groups with resources and connecting people with each other to exchange and create new ideas. I think I talked to you.
Okay. Now we're gonna open it up to questions. Starting off with the case number.
Yes. 767-9696. We're not fully staffed yet for the year, so leave your name and repeat your phone number twice, and we'll get back with you within 24 hours. 767-9696.
Carl.
So what are your timeframes right now for grants?
The time frame on the grant that will be coming out will be, I think the deadline or to turn in will probably be about May, the first Monday, which I think is the 7th. And the decisions will be made by the end of May or early June. And the grant projects can be from May through the end of October.
Any more questions?
And then for the Ruth Mott Foundation, again, if you're able to partner with one of your local nonprofits or charitable organizations, our next deadline is April the 6th. And then we have our final deadline for the year is August the 10th.
Okay, I have Mr. Ford, and then I have Norma Sain over here.
A young lady in the back of the red.
Okay, Mr. Ford?
Yeah, I was just wondering how much money each one of your organizations typically gives out every year, so we have an idea of the resources available.
So we give out approximately $6 million a year.
Wow.
And we give out approximately $6 to $7 million a year as a whole, the community foundation. But in terms of neighborhood grants, neighborhood funding, we give out approximately $70 to $100,000 a year.
Okay.
And we give away 8,000 to 10,000 yard waste bags and garbage bags a year.
Okay, Norma?
No, we moved, Mott College bought Woodside Church, and so we are now located at 502 Church Street. Church and First, it's where the Downtown Development Authority is. We're on the 2nd floor.
And Norma?
A question for Trafina. The Ruth Mott Foundation, are you all in the process of updating your strategic plan? And are your boundaries still from Robert T. North?
Our boundaries is still Robert T. Longway, 5th and Flushing North. Our strategic plan goes to 2020, and so we're not currently in the process of updating.
Okay, young lady back
Yeah, you have registration for Connect the Blocks.
Yes.
You have that there?
Actually, on the postcard, it has a phone number you could call to register, and it also has a web address. You could either do it online or you can call.
Ma'am, you still want to ask your questions in the red section?
Oh, sure. Any more questions?